have to be like warmed up to them for some reason. It's the
Mm.
same thing about putting throwback music into the current space. You got to kind of meet them halfway. Or the other option is you're just so freaking good at that sound that doesn't matter.
Mm.
Like like there's a band called The Dip that I really like that I've played before. And The Dip is like an old school soul band. Uh and when you see them, you're like, those guys sing soul music, and you're like, yeah, yeah. And then you hear them, you're like, wow, they really sound authentic. And it's because they all are very trained, they're really talented, and they record their music like that. And they have, I think, 770,000 monthly listeners on Spotify now. And it's because they're just doing like an old soul kind of Sam Cooke vibe. They do it really well. And there's a lot of bands like that out there. I will say this: don't get caught up in mainstream music. Just understand it, and then do the music that you feel most passionate about. Because if you don't understand mainstream music, you're like, when am I going to get this break? It's like, well, you're probably not, because that's a trend that's happening. That they're just the radio industry is just following trends. If you're like, I just want to be an amazing artist, but I understand structure of how people remember music, well, then that makes your job easier, because you're like, okay, I'm going to use the hit song checklist, which anyone here, if you're not using the hit song checklist and you hope to get a song, that just use the hit song checklist. Everything's there. And I just made one for a sync hit song checklist, which has a couple more things that are added to it. Use those checklists, because it's in every hit song. It's the same formulas, right? So just find the sound of music that you really love, that you're passionate about, and then understand formulas that are just throughout all of time, which is using mnemonics that can be repeated, power of threes, a slogan as a title or something that people will remember, using contrast, up, down, left, right, using imagery, saying something from a new perspective, and having an aha moment when that chorus hits. If you kind of stick to these basic structural things and just make a ton of songs, yeah, you're going to have a hit in there. But I would say, and this is just me kind of voicing, remember I was saying before the battery, um, we had Grammy Award winner Damon Sharp in here. He said one out of every, I think it was 50 songs he said of his becomes a hit. And that's a real thing. I tell people the same thing with me. It's like one out of every 50 is like the one that really pays a lot. And the other ones you kind of put in your catalog and they build up. But when we had Sam Getz here from the band Welshly Arms, he said Legendary, which was a massive hit, that was his 300th song he wrote for that project. So once you're finding your sound, just go in, like just write songs. And then you will find that needle in the haystack, and that needle will puncture everything that you wanted to open in your life. It'll create enough light in that room. So think of it like you're looking for that needle in the haystack. You finally get the needle, and you're just poking holes in everything, and then you're getting all this sunlight coming in. That's what happens. But if you only do like 10 songs, and you're like, oh, I don't have a hit. It's like neither
Yeah,
did anyone else. So hopefully that helps.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, brother.
Here we go. Hey everyone, my name is Lex Cole, and this is the Riffs and Runs course. I went to Berklee College of Music, and I learned everything from classical to jazz to contemporary music. You're going to be using a lot of scales that I learned at Berklee in order to incorporate riffs and runs into your everyday song. Will you wait for me? Yeah. One more time. Whether you're a novice or a master at riffs and runs, this course is designed to bring you to the next level of your own accomplishment. What makes this course stand out from the rest is that I show you how these scales and these techniques are used in riffs and runs in current music and how to create your own. Elevate your vocals by perfecting your riffs and runs.
Does anyone else have any questions? I know Banner is thinking of tons of questions in his beautiful slumber right now. He's like, look at all the questions that I could.
Adam, what kind of software do you use for catalog? I'm using Excel, and I hate Excel for cataloging. I'm going back and trying to get songs that I released before with other artists. I'm contacting them and musicians. I'm trying to get everything organized. Is there better software to use other than Excel?
Well, here, I'll tell you what I use. I use Google Forms, And Google Forms, I just send them a form to sign in all their stuff. I'll actually show it to you. So that way you can see it here. Let's see. All right, so I make a form like this. Like this is one of our forms for our Sing company. And it just has the basics, like name, address, email, all this stuff, birth date, Instagram, YouTube, have they played songs before? So this is a basic thing. You have all their information. And then when they send it to you, it has all the responses so you can see it. But more importantly, you can click on this little Excel thing and then everything pops up. So it's already organized.
I was thinking under the lines of songs, like say your song catalog, like say.
No, it's just, brother, it's the same thing. I'm saying just take a Google form.
Oh, I see.
Google form, and then have same thing, name, address, what's your PRO, how much percentage of the song do you own, and then send it to all these people, and it's going to pop and already populate for you in an Excel, on a free Excel, which is Google one.
Gotcha.
So that to me is the easiest way to do it, and it's the best way to keep everything kind of organized.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. Anyone else have any questions? Sabrina.
Do you not need other people's signatures? Because like it's just a form, right? Do you need like their signature for it or anything?
Are you talking about for the gathering of information or the signing of contracts?
Because like, don't you also use Google Forms for splits and everything?
Mm-hmm.
So like
at the bottom, you can add a link to a signatory. I think Daniele has on hers. You have to check with her, but you can add a thing at the end that says sign it, and it sends them to a page that I think is like a DocuSign or something, and it can sign it too.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Anyone else have their hand up? Logan?
I have one last question for you.
Go ahead.
What is the definition of selling out in your eyes?
Ooh. I mean, that's such an interesting word. When people in Austin, Texas used to say to me things, they're like, oh man, I would never sell out. And I'm like, you don't want to sell out of your concert?
Yeah.
No, what I mean is, you don't want to sell out of your downloads. You don't want to sell out of your merchandise. You don't want to sell out of your thing. There's a thing that happens. It's unfortunate, actually. I think it happens because humans don't understand vocabulary enough yet. They just repeat words that they hear. And what this thing would be called would be like using it as reverse, let's call it reverse vocabulary, where something's negative and then someone tries to turn it into a positive by using it, right? Or vice versa. Something's positive, someone else turns it into a negative. So someone can be like, I'm not going to go through the racial slurs. I'm not going to go through all the negative connotations that men call women, then women start using it, and then back and forth and all. I can go through a list of words that are ridiculous. And instead of people just saying, we should remove that word because it has too much power, period. That should be the answer to everything. What they do is go like, nah, I'm going to use it for power now. I'm like, that's not how it works. You just want it to be like that, but that's not how it actually works, because it still has an intention and a vibration that's being sent out to the world. No matter how you want to think it goes out, that's up to a personal thought, but that's not how it's received by everyone. And so this thing of sell out is something that people are actually trying to do, and someone else can't do it. So then they say, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then they get a bunch of people around them like, yeah, we're never going to sell out. And then you see those people in like 20 years and they're all broke. They don't know what's going on in their life. They can't hold down a relationship. I've seen this happen over and over again. It's like, okay, because it's not about selling out. It's not a thing of selling your soul, all that stuff. It's about, are you making good business decisions that help your products to sell? That's it. That's like every business. Mm-hmm. If you're putting yourself to where you can't look in the mirror and go, I don't really like the person. Now that to me is something different. That's not selling out. That's like you got lost. You got played by your own game, which I see people do. They get played by their own game. They build a game. They pretend like they're the leading character of the game. It starts to amass into something. They get so lost in the game. They have all these other people agreeing with them until their bullshit starts to really stink, and then everyone turns on them. I mean, this happens all the time. If you look at like R. Kelly situations and that, it's people who play the game. Everyone agreed with their game while everyone's making money. People stopped making money, And people started turning on the person who was the leader of the game.
Mhm.
That's something getting lost in your own, like I say, character type or archetype. But as far as selling out, I mean, the whole goal would be, how do you take a product that you believe in and turn it into a financial rewarding reflection by connecting with a fan base or a product or a brand or a commercial or radio, something that can, like I said, it's like feedback. Like you throw out into the world and it comes back to you and feeds you. That's what its feedback is. It feeds you back. That's not, to me, selling out. That's creating the exact goal of what your music should be doing. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Well, yeah, I know. Thank you. And I was just curious what you thought of that word, and that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Any other question for today? Like I said, the reason why I really enjoy these consultations is because I know when we're telling you this, and when everyone else might get some insight for each other, every time we answer these questions, in like 2 years, y'all are not going to have any questions. You'll be the one giving people answers because it'll just make sense. You know what I mean? It'll all connect, because then, Logan's gonna remember how I answered Brenda's thing about marketing. So that's in his brain. And then Jamil's gonna remember how I answered Luis when it came to time distribution of management. And it's gonna, so the more we hack these things down, the more is actually kind of like seeping into your subconscious. Well, you'll have the answers. So when someone in the room says, well, how's the best way to make a track? You're like, boom, Google Drive, go here, guys, make the form, this, we can write at the same time. And they're going to go, damn, that's dope. And it'll be your information now that you get to share, Okay, cool. What else was I gonna say? Oh, we have a question. Brenda.
Okay, yeah, I just have one more quick question.
Go ahead.
Always, like, with your content, you never say like the same thing twice too often, unless you're like selling a service. How do you like plan out your topics, or how do you make sure you never say the same thing twice? Is it just like the knowledge you're learning and then you reiterate, however you say it, or how do you never say the same thing twice with your content?
What do you mean? Are you talking about like when you're building content for your career?
Or like even in live streams and stuff, like you always have something new to bring to the table. Like, how do you find that something new, or is it just something that like you channel kind of a thing?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh, how do I do it?
Yeah, how do you do it?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
This is how my brain works. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, yeah, I don't know how to, like, yeah, no, I wait. Literally, if you ask Amy, I wake up and things just are like this. And so she grabs a recorder. And so every day she's been transcribing me for like the past 2 years, and she's turning it into a book, because I wake up from my dreams and I'm like, oh, I saw this. Like, I woke up the other day and I was like, oh, here's what's happening in the world. Everyone's focusing on focusing on the effects of things, but no one's realizing that everything is actually a reaction. So no one's actually focusing on the cause of things. It's a lot easier to focus on the effects. He does that. She does this. Da. We can fix you here. Take this pill. Yeah, effects. But if you focus on the cause, so if you look at, and I said this before, our 5 senses, and we just take like touch, taste, smell, sight. What is it? Touch, taste, smell, sight, ear, hearing. Right. So we have those 5. If you make each one harmonious, then you in turn are growing a seed of harmony. So that way, without even trying, you're emanating energy of harmony to everyone around you, who will then also be getting a piece of that, right? If you look at the things around us, the effects, our world's in a complete disarray right now, right? Because we're looking at these effects. But if we look at the causes, like we're eating the bad foods, which are creating disharmony. We're watching TV shows that are creating disharmony. We're listening to music that creates disharmony. Like if you go down, if you look at these things and just break it down, like, and when you're touching people, look at the people, like they're not treating their bodies right, sleeping with everyone. Like, listen, I'm just saying, if you really break down these things, we're creating disharmony in our 5 senses, and then we're giving disharmony to other people, and that's the effect. But if you went to the cause and went, oh wait, we should just change these things, we would have such a bigger impact. And if we made platforms that were cool and not ultra religious or ultra hippie or ultra spirit, no, just normal, just like normal life, it's probably better to do this than that. We would literally change the world by just changing that one perspective. I wake up and that comes out of me. Amy grabs the phone, she's sitting there with me, and then I'll just blurb out something for like a half an hour in some weird channel state that I get into. And I do that every single day. And then some of those things I pop out and I go, oh, this would be good for musicians.
Okay. Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The most sense.
What's up, Louis?
Like doing the thing that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's an architecture in everything in nature. And humans are the one species that are taking themselves out of nature, thinking that they can create a better architecture. And it's not working. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing in the world. Like, check this out. Everything else on this planet is already working in harmony and has been for millions of years. And then we have created a thought that we are better than everything only because we've built businesses. But if you look at everything, we're only doing whatever the animal is doing. Like, we are wired to want shelter and build a home, but so is a hornet. A hornet makes a hornet's nest. Guess what? Every hornet in the world makes the same nest. They're not friends. There's no network. There's no internet. How do they all have the same blueprint? It's already wired in them. Same thing with a beaver. Beaver here and a beaver on the other side of the world are going to make the same beaver's den. There's no way of them knowing these things. There's certain architecture that's already wired into us, but we like to make businesses around them. So I talk about sports. Sports isn't everything in nature. Alpha's fighting for territory and procreation. Then we just call it sports and we put a team on it. Isn't it funny that all the teams are named after animals? Falcons and eagles and freaking bears and, you know, the leopards and the jaguars. And like, it's just all the same thing as animals, because that's what we are doing. We're taking things from the animal kingdom, but then we're trying to change them. And unfortunately, in the change, and a lot of it has to do with people's feelings, they're like, I don't feel good when that is like that. And you're like, your feelings are being sold to you too much. Is it creating harmony or disharmony? Things create disharmony. You can look in nature and go, oh, that's working over there just fine, has been. Then we should probably do what that thing's doing.
I agree.
That makes sense? Cool.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's all about architecture. I mean, that's the best way to describe, if you want to say God or spirit or source or any of the wild words that everyone will be saying for the rest of the time. At the end of the day, there's a perfect architecture to everything that most people never get a chance to truly understand, to see, to experience, because in order to see that greater architecture, you have to look outside of yourself. And what they focus on is just thinking about you. So it creates an identity, and then your ego gets in front of it. And so you actually never get a chance to step outside yourself and see things from an omnipresent view. And that's like, ever been on like a plane and you're flying over and you look down and you see the world and you're like, whoa, we're actually really small. Ever had that moment? And like all the cars look like little ants and you're like, whoa, we're kind of tiny. And then you realize that on your body right now are thousands of bacteria and fungi and little things on you that if you looked at them, it'd be like you looking from the plane. And we're constantly doing that more and more. And then we get to the atoms and they're even smaller and they're even smaller. So when you step out of yourself for a bit and out of the clothing that makes you cool and out of the house and out of the sneakers and the shoes and the car, you step away from all that stuff and you realize we're a part of something much bigger. That's when the magic starts to unfold. And that's why when I tell you guys, I see things in like a matrix style, I don't get too attached to emotions, because I know emotions are just there feeding people their perspective. And that's why when I might have asked you that question, Luis, I was saying, where's your perspective? And I wanted to do this with it. So eventually you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all I got to do. I want to become successful, read these books so I can get the foundations of these. I want to be successful and as an artist, producer, cool, put in the hours and structure these things. And you start to realize it's just architecture.
I agree. Thank you.
Cool, man. My pleasure. All right. Anything else, y'all? Well, it's time for one more question if anyone's got one. I see Logan getting close to his mic, but he's not sure. He's scratching his head. I see it. I see it.
I just had a really funny thought that I was like, that was a very like psychedelic mushroom thought you just had there. And I was like, oh, it'd be so funny if we were all sitting on here tripping out one time and just the shit we'd come up with. That's what I was thinking about.
That's where you went.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the wild experiments, you know. I will say that like that the meditation we did last time, because there's a lot of good people walk away and said a lot of good things happen. I think on a future one, we'll probably do one where we're meditating first, and then we do start to just openly talk about things that in the music industry that we want to change, and we start to just add our different vibrations and energy to it. Songs we want to make better, like we could start with a song, like let's all throw in ideas for lyrics. Let's all throw in ideas for melodies, you know, And I think if we have 20 people on a session and we all give different melodies, we're going to find the best melody. It's going to be pretty easy, and not look at it like, I got to own this song, but like, let's together create a song that we want to have a certain kind of impact. And what does that sound like? And I think with everyone's skill set, and not caring about split sheets, but just saying, let's make a cool song today, we'll probably come up with something really amazing. So maybe we'll do that as an experiment at some point. All right, cool, everyone. That being said, a few things just to note, things that we posted in the group. If you're trying to expand your voice, I would say definitely check out the Riffs and Runs course by Lex Cole, because she broke that down for anyone who's trying to learn how to do riffs and runs. I mean, she's breaking out Whitney Houston stuff. If you're trying to get articulate like that, definitely look into that. Sean's vocal course, totally recommend that, especially if you have a Studio One, but also
We're losing you.
Who's that Riffs and Runs by he mentioned?
I'll take over. Lex Cole, it just came out a few days ago. There's a discount, 10% off the next like week or so. So definitely get that. It's on the website. Code's at the top. It is RR10 for 10% off. And yeah, I'll let Adam, he's back. I'll let him take over.
I'm back. Yeah, the one with Lex Cole is cool because Lex was one of those little phenoms. Like at 10 years old, she was already performing in New York clubs. And that's very rare when people have that experience, when, someone hears them sing and is like, hey, you should be performing with adults. And then she was playing with like Billy Joel's band and stuff. And she went to Berkeley grad. And so she really breaks down riffs and runs at a very nuanced level. So I highly recommend that. And the other one I was saying was Sean's vocal production course, because I took his course and he is doing some things in there that are extremely high level that I wasn't sure if he would even know about. And then when I heard and saw them, I was like, okay. Because I am a vocal producer. So I had to double check to make sure his course was at that level. And yeah, everything he's doing in there is going to take your vocals to be a professional level. So I highly recommend doing that. Plus it helps you get really fast no matter what studio you're in, because you're not always going to be on your laptop, y'all. I mean, that's just a reality. There's gonna be a day where you'll be working with some big producer, you'll walk into a big studio and they're gonna go, cool, can you run a board? And you're gonna be like, huh? If that part, and I've seen people do this, because they don't know the basic foundations of what the compressor's doing, why they're using it, the sequential order things should be in, how everything's affecting the vocal, because they don't really know it, they've just been throwing on presets, they are like a fish out of water when they step into the real game. And so I think Sean has a really good way of explaining why these things work and what they're doing. So that way it kind of gives you a good crossover. Other things in the group, just to mention, we posted, if you get to level 5, it's free membership for the rest of your life. The reason why I want to do that is because that's kind of how I was raised with karate, where once you became a black belt, you then help to teach other people how to become black belts. And I feel like that structure has always been good. It's been something that doesn't need to be changed. So for me, it's really about just providing you with enough information so that way y'all can really make a living doing this, but be masters at it, not just kind of be good, but be mastership level. And sometimes people are really great at production. I mean, at playing music, but they're not great at production. They don't have fast turnarounds. When it's on the line, they're not producing what they need to do. I need to get you all to be in that sweet spot to where you can produce a track from start to finish within 8 hours, and it sounds high quality. Once I get you there, it's all about you working your network, which is already in the group. You have A&R from major labels. You have A&R from sync companies. Perfect example. And I would definitely say to everyone here, if you're attending these workshops and you're attending the live sessions, do you feel, and just tell me by raise of hand, do you feel more confident that when you have the right music, you can send it off to someone that you know will listen to it? Right? Okay. Sabrina, your hand. Yeah, you too? Okay. I'm just making sure, because that was one thing that I did not have in my career. I never had that. I never had the thing of like, when I have the right music, I know I can send it off to people who are executives. I didn't have that. I was just randomly emailing people through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through Wikipedia. I didn't have people that I went, okay, here are all the mentors. If I write them an email with my link, they're going to listen to my music. So I think that's the kind of thing that I want to get y'all to go to, is coming through, learning the information. And then once you're at level 5, hopefully you'll want to mentor some other people in the group. Or if you're on tour doing your major things, you'll pop in and be a mentor for a day to share your experiences. So other than that, I think anything else is going on, we can touch base with in the group, and I'll see everyone on Monday Motivation. If you get a chance, be at the Monday Motivation, because we will be going over some of the other things that I want to share with you. But I think these consultations are really good for us to spend time together and really get some good information. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Banner, how was your nap, brother?
Hey man, I'm sorry, man. Damn. It was
It's
crazy,
all good.
man.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Thai Layla. That's what they say in China Mandarin. Thai Layla.
Tyler, yeah,
Thai
man.
Layla.
Did you have a question before we took
Yeah,
off?
I do. I do.
All right,
I do.
let's save Banner for the last question, then we'll go.
So, boom. Last week when we were doing the mentorship class, you were talking about how the way you're right. You do like think about who you're talking to first, and then you go, okay, are you talking on point or off center? And then you don't think, you just start spitting. Like you just don't think anymore. You don't judge what you're spitting out. And then so that you can spit out melodies, but also like those little gibberish words.
Yeah.
You're right. I think the last part is just kind of because like I just think the don't think part is hard when you are thinking about when you thought of who you're talking to, and then whether you should be on point or off center. Then I'm like, oh, but then how do you not
Let me give you an example.
then,
Let me give you an
yeah.
example. So if I go, I'm going to talk about meeting someone at a bar, and I'm going to talk off center. A perfect example is the song Fun had tonight. You know, like your sunglasses are sitting next to me, and you're waiting for my friends in the bar doing coke, and he's going to come out, and then you're going to be hearing tonight, you know, tonight we are young. It's a totally kind of like random conversation, but it pulls in certain feelings. Does that make sense? That's like an off-center way. But then if you do another one where you say, I want to talk to someone who I met at a bar, that shape of you, where it's like, the club isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the tables doing. So that's a very conversational, on point way of writing. So what I'm saying is like what I do is when I'm going in and talking, I'm figuring out am I doing this kind of like imagination with vagueness, with cool feelings, or am I doing an actual conversation where I have to take you from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 to step 5. Depending on what I'm thinking of, I'm just letting things go. So for instance, if I want to write a song now and I'm saying I'm talking about a bar scene, I might be like, a couple drinks in and I'm throwing darts at the board, and it's kind of like how I was throwing questions at firing eyes at you, like that. That's me to say, look, I didn't think of something yet, but you can see how that makes sense because I'm now grabbing this thing of the throwing darts at the board, and I'm like, that's kind of how I'm throwing eyes at you. And so you're like, oh, he's kind of throwing things at the bullseye. There's an imagination to it, but it's not really how you talk in a conversation. I'm throwing things that are a little bit left of center, you know. Now, if I want to say, I want to know where you're from and who your friends are, we might have the same friends too. That's a conversation. That's right. On point. It's not left of center. It's like we're hearing, like you had blue jeans on, you had red lipstick. You took your heels off because you said your feet were tired. That's a conversation that's on point. Right. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. If I say, when I met you, I didn't even have a sip of my drink and I already felt drunk, and it made me feel like I slipped into Alice in Wonderland for a minute and I was wondering if I'm ever going to wake up. That's a totally different imagination. Because I took you down something that was totally down a different rabbit hole. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. So
think about it.
So when I was
so that's off center.
What I was explaining was that's what my brain does, right? Like I know Do I want to talk off center? Do I want to talk conversationally? Or do I want to mix it? It's just having the ability to know that there is a difference, though. Like, I don't think Beyonce is going to talk in a way that's not conversational. Does that make sense? He's like, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, put your hands up. 1 + 1 = 2 = 3 = 4. It's walked in the club, saw you them there, then we did this, then that happened after that, and now this will happen next. That's a conversational on point way of writing. But then if you write surfboard's not. That's like a left of center. Right, the surfboard. And you're like, oh, that's a different way of writing.
Yeah. Right, but I'm just like, yeah, I mean, different way of writing, but then how do you channel your brain to shut off and then to be able to achieve, grab the subconscious?
Okay, so I think, once again, you're thinking.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. You're like, how does it do it? Just tell it to. I just showed you 2 examples of where I just told my subconscious without saying it out loud. You know, like just in that moment when I said, oh, I was getting drunk, and I wasn't even having my drink yet, but just looking at you made me drunk, and I fell into a hole like Alice in Wonderland. I was wondering if I was going to wake up. You know, the Mad Hatter and like I could start going into stuff. That's just randomly telling my subconscious, go down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
So what I would say as an exercise for you, because you think a lot, is to challenge yourself when you're going to go into that channeling area to say things that you haven't heard yourself say before, to describe the feelings that you want to impress in this song.
Whoa.
So basically, what do you want to feel? Like, I want to feel like this moment when I met so-and-so was something unexpected. It was contagious. It was reactive. That's the feelings. Okay, cool. Describe them in pictures that could be associated with a storyline, and just let your brain go and don't think. That's, like I just said, the whole thing about I felt drunk, but I didn't have a drink. I fell down the hole. I wanted to wake up. The Mad Hatter reminded me of the hat you were wearing. And like, I could just keep going for days of how these things could connect. And then people will go, that sounds cool. So just trust that your subconscious will figure it out. Because right now, I think what's happening is that you're trying to control your subconscious. It doesn't work that way. Your subconscious is already working. You're breathing right now. Your heart is beating. You're not telling it to. There's processes happening right now that, like, even when you type, you're not looking at the actual letters.
No.
Because your subconscious is doing all the work.
Right.
So don't try to control it. Just let it do what it's going to do. And then sit back and, as an observer, go back and be like, oh, okay, that's cool what I just did. All right, how do I do that more? And then practice it. It's like a muscle. It's just like typing. It's a muscle. You got to work on it. But if you're thinking like, I'm typing F to U to N, you'll get so focused on trying to do that you'll get hyper focused on it. And if you mess up, you're going to judge yourself. Oh, it's not perfect. That's not how you learn how to type.
Yeah, that's not. Got you. Okay. Got you. And so, okay. So then describe them in pictures.
Yeah. So how about this? Okay. Write down, for you, try this. Write down the feelings of what happened. You know, a feeling of excitement, the feeling of confusion when I met this person, like whatever the storyline is. I'm just using the meeting, but you know, do whatever you want. The feeling of almost like nostalgic, like I knew this person already. The feeling of blah, blah, blah. And just get 5 main feelings. These are my 5 main feelings. Then just say, subconscious, write to it. And I guarantee your subconscious will literally sit there and be like, well, when that person walked in the room, I remember my heart got faster. Okay, that's what you'll say. You walked in my room, my heart started beating faster. Like, you'll say these things. And I wasn't sure if I just like, and then you could get funny with it. I wasn't sure if it was the drink I just had or if it was from you. So I was sitting there trying to think about it. And then you smiled at me and I realized I felt it too. And the next thing you know, like all these things are starting to connect and your brain will just start to make a matrix of what makes sense inside of it to understand the story.
And you would want me to just straight up spitting these information into the mic without trying to fit it into a melody in the same
No,
time,
no,
right?
you can try melody, man. I'm telling you, it's
Cool.
amazing what your subconscious brain will do. Just get in front of the microphone and just go, and just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Record one full pass. Option. Well, for me, it's Option Command N. New playlist. Do it again. Option Command N. New playlist. Try to say something different each time. Challenge your subconscious. Do something different this time, and it'll keep doing it. And then what you'll go through is look at different sections and go, okay, that verse, I kind of said something. And that third playlist, that chorus, I kind of said something. And then that fourth pre-chorus, I kind of said something. So let me doctor these pieces together. And now it all says something.
Oh, right. And of course, these, because you by now you're supposed to have your melodies already. Now that's why you're writing the lyrics. But so right now you're just doing mid takes of this same melody, but with different.
No. Here's what I'm saying. Write down 5 feelings that you got from this experience. No lyric, no melody, just the 5 feelings. Create the music that you want. Get behind the mic and just say subconscious, right. Just do that. And each time, get done, listen to like 5-10 takes, and then see where are the pieces that I was saying something that the melody felt cool. Okay, that melody. What about that lyric? Okay, that lyric and that melody might work. Or right as I said it, it worked perfect. And start to, I call it Frank leg with that foot, and then it starts to come together.
Okay, I'll give that a shot.
So literally try exactly how I said to do it. Like just like that. Do 10 takes. Tell yourself each time you're gonna do something that you've never heard in the last one. It's gonna be completely new. And trust me, it'll do it. It'll just find something new. Oh, it always does.
Okay, completely new.
Yeah.
Find something. Okay, completely new. Oh, and just next question. I want to ask you, with my current, musical level, how do you think? How would you suggest me to make $750 from music? And this is in whichever way, right? It can be like teaching, it can be like, but just in music, in something with music. How to make $750 with music per month.
Easy. Just start working with artists and charging them. Start off with charging someone $300 a track. Say, I'll produce a track, $300. If you want me to mix your vocals, it's an extra $100. Then you get paid $400, but you'll help with lyric and melody or something, or you help with melody, whatever's your strength. And then do one. Tell them if you do 3 songs on an EP, you'll give it to them for $1,200. And then you do a great job. Everyone posts it. They're like, oh, this is really good. Then someone else will ask you, hey, do you want to do mine? Same rates. And you tell everyone, I'll have the same rates for the next year or the next 6 months. Create some sort of urgency. Next 6 months, everyone who signs up for me, $350 deal or something. I mean, you could be making $750 easily. I mean, you could do that tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, because I just want to cut down my English teaching gig too. So
yeah,
I'm like,
I mean, the beauty of the internet is you can market in your area. You can literally market in your area. Okay, I should probably host this for everyone because some producers have asked me this. Like, I can give you all a foolproof way of making a living as a producer, even without getting sync placements. Sync placements are going to be worth more money. Let's just be real, like probably 100 times worth one of these things. I mean, even if you're charging $2,000 a track, a sync placement could easily start $20K. So you'll make more money in TV and film. But let's just say you just want to make a monthly thing of $750. What I would do is make a professional looking video that's like, hey, the pop, hip hop, whatever styles you do, make it look really professional, really cool. Check out some of my tracks and have a few of them, blah, blah, blah. Right now, I'm doing a special for everyone in my area. If you're in Taiwan and you're looking for tracks, I'm doing a $350 special. Working with, I've been mentored by Grammy Award winner Damon Sharp. Like, start naming some people who've mentored you. put it all the things on a video, make it less than 60 seconds, start to hit that on Facebook advertisements, YouTube advertisements, and then people in your area are going to see it. And then, like I said, just wait for them to come in and make a nice website. You can probably do it on Shopify or some sort of WordPress thing pretty inexpensively. Yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense, right? When I say it out loud, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess if I just had some Facebook ads, and if you get, 3 clients a month that are paying you for one track, that's already more than what you asked for.
Yeah.
And that's only in your area I'm even talking about. I didn't say worldwide. I said just in your area. So like if you hit up, China and Taiwan and different areas, and you say, I've been mentored by blah, 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 who has hit songs on this. I've been mentored by Adam McGinnis, who has hit songs on Fast and Furious. I've been mentored by blah, blah, blah. And now I'm coming to do my own work here and blah, 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 blah. Due to COVID, I moved back to Taiwan. So now I'm working with upcoming artists. Like you can make a quick little video, hit that in that area, make sure it's HD, everything looks good. You have great music, show a couple of your beats, show you producing it, have like the screen grab of you actually making the track. Like, I see some people shaking their heads because they're like, yeah, I would. If I saw that and it's professional, it's kind of easy sell for $300,
Interesting. I think, I wasn't even thinking about that part because I was like, okay, first off, like charting artists and am I like losing the royalty part? But then I guess and then also the second part, I was thinking like, hey man,
you're not losing royalty. If you're writing on it, you're still maintain your royalties. You might not own the master of the song, but you're also saying at the level you're at now, we're trying to build a business. You don't have any major credits yet. So saying I'm losing something, it's like kind of doing the thing of like chicken before the egg thing. You get kind of stuck in this thing of what's if you're making 100% of nothing, it's still nothing.
Yeah.
So start to build your catalog up.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, like if you're selling it and you're worried about the royalty, you don't have a name yourself right now either, but that song might not get nowhere either. But if it does, well then you kind of have your name attached to it in a sense. So it's gaining value not monetarily, but through your name. You start to build like a reputation, I guess.
Yeah. And we can go deeper into contractual things. Like if you're worried about, writer share and publishing royalty, if you're helping writing with a lyric and melody, you should still maintain that. So a lot of the artists who will probably come to you are people who also want help with lyric and melody. For the most part, if someone comes in and is like, I'm going to write the song on my own, and it's not a good song, it's not going to matter. But if you're like, I'm mentored by these Grammy Award winners and these people on this and this and yada, yada, yada. And I'll even help you with the lyric and melody. It's like, yeah, maybe you'll say, usually I would take 50%, but for this thing, I'm only going to ask for 25. Like there's so many things that you can leverage and you can network and you can arrange and negotiate with. But if you're just talking about how to make $750 a month, you can literally do that starting next month if you just organize these things.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because I was even like, oh man, like I don't even know how am I gonna go find people that want to pay me to work with me. But then, yeah, that makes sense if you just lay it out clearly and then just throw it to people. And
man, I'll tell you this, I've told this exact scenario to I don't know how many producers in this group, and no one's even done it yet. I don't know why. I don't get it. But I've said that same thing to people, and I'm like, listen, just make it in your area. I guarantee people are going to go, oh, that's cool. I want to work with him. He's up and coming in my area, and they will work with you. That's how all of us get started in the beginning. It's someone in our area that's doing something similar to us, and we hear that they're buzzing a little bit, and we're like, oh, okay, whatever they're doing is cool. I see people shaking their heads because I know that's how I got started. There was someone in my area who was doing it, and I thought it was cool. So it's like, if it's there, I don't know why people don't do it. I don't know if it's a mixture of they don't really want to go all in on themselves, and so they're scared of putting it out there like that, and so they're hoping it just kind of magically works itself out. But yeah, dude, just a minute-long video, a nice little website, pop your credits on there, make sure all your beats are fire. That's it. That's the only thing. That's prerequisite. Make sure all your tracks sound really good, the ones you put on your website. And once they hear the tracks, they're going to go, okay, this guy's really good. And then that's it. But I will say this, make sure you're really good at vocal producing. I will say that's the one thing that a lot of producers I meet with have trouble with is because they work with an artist and they cannot mix the vocals really good. So then the artist is like, well, the track sounds pretty good, but my vocals are not sitting in it the way it should. That's because the producer did not study the other end of the spectrum, which is vocal production and mixing. So just make sure you study that stuff. So when you do give this offer, what they'll do is you'll work with them. They'll get a great result. They'll tell their friends. Most musicians have other musician friends. And then you get hit up by one of their friends and they'll say, hey, you produced my friend's record. You have any more time? And then next thing you know, you get another one, and you're still blasting these Facebook ads and YouTube ads. And then probably by the end of 6 months to a year, you have like, there is producers in our group who have like 20 clients. There are some that have that, but then there's some who have not taken this thing for whatever reason. And they always complain to me how they're not making money. And I'm like, I'm so confused. It's not hard.
Right. And this approach is probably better than just teaching production or teaching. Like if I go like, hey, I'm teaching music production.
Well, I'm not saying that. If you're talking about hours, if you're talking about hours, it just depends on how you see your hourly time. If you're really good at production and you want to charge people $20 an hour and you can get 10 people into a session of yours, well, that's $200 an hour. And then if you teach for 2 hours on Friday and Saturday, we just made $800 a weekend.
That's true too.
No, as I'm saying, that's why I'm always saying you got to look outside the box and then go, what's my time worth in retrospect to that and where I'm at in my career. So if you can find a bunch of kids who pay $20 an hour, is not a lot. So just say $20 an hour, we get 10 people, teach for 2 hours. It's $400. Do it twice a weekend. It's $800. Do that 4 times a week. That's, what is that? It's $3,200.
Right. Cool.
All right, cool.
Here we go. Hey everyone, my name is Lex Cole and this is the Riffs and Runs course. I went to Berklee College of Music and I learned everything from classical to jazz to contemporary music. You're going to be using a lot of scales that I learned at Berklee in order to incorporate riffs and runs into your everyday song. Will you wait for me? Yeah. One more time. Whether you're a novice or a master at riffs and runs, this course is designed to bring you to the next level of your own accomplishment. What makes this course stand out from the rest is that I show you how these scales and these techniques are used in riffs and runs in current music and how to create your own. Elevate your vocals by perfecting your riffs and runs.